Hello everybody, my name is Julian or Flow Graphics, and welcome to another episode of the Dev Diary for Lens Island. So before I get into the title of the video, I'd like to announce we now have a Discord server. So you can go to the top of the description, I'll have the link to join the server, which will have all sorts of inside sneak peeks about development of the game and all sorts of announcements, and you'll be able to chat to us and give feedback and ideas and a lot of stuff you don't see in these YouTube videos. So go check that out, join the Discord server in the link below. And yeah, this video is going to be a bit more about implementing some more of your guys' ideas. I did a video like this a little while ago in the town actually, and this one is again in the town. I've done some more level design for a bunch of different stuff in this scene, so I thought why not go through it all and also talk a little bit about quitting my job and sort of other people that might be in that scenario, give you a bit of advice and sort of what's going on with my life and all of that. So yeah, you may notice these market stalls are new and there's a few things new, as well as the ground I'm standing on. I actually had a few people ask about adding some sort of paved roads or tiles and things like that. So I sort of met in the middle. I actually made this texture by baking, like I just made like a 3D mesh for bricks or sort of cobblestone, a bit more like it, and I baked that into like a flat plane and made a texture and then basically just painted that on the terrain. So it was pretty easy to do. I really like the look of it. I purposely made it a bit more yellowy, sort of sandstone looking. It just sort of lifts the whole vibe of the town a bit more. It's not so drab. I think the other texture was just a bit too dull. And I needed something with a bit more saturation just to go with the sort of the grey of all the buildings. Otherwise it just looked too grey and it just wasn't that nice looking. But yeah, so thanks to the people that suggested that. I'll go up to the new house I made. I also got a ton of people asking, or saying that the character looked like Shaggy in one of the old videos because he used to have a green shirt. I just changed the color of his shirt and forgot to change it back for that one video. And then I got inundated by people saying, yeah, Len looks like Shaggy, so no need to worry. His shirt is red, it's not green. I've changed it back now. But why I'm up here is because, yeah, here's a new house that I added for an NPC, and I thought it'd be cool to get all of your guesses on what the backstory is for the person that lives in this house. I'll give you one word, one clue, and that's the word night, and that's it. That's all I'm going to give you. I'd love to hear all your ideas on the actual, what the person's sort of backstory could be, because they will play an important part in the actual game. So there's that house there. I've moved the market. You may have noticed this market used to be further down and towards the sort of the center of the town, but I made this little farm area here for some, like a vegetable patch and some corn, and there's some butterflies flapping about, and it just made a lot more sense to have the market next to the farm. And I think that's something, if you are new to level design or sort of set dressing, really think about how it would practically actually work in real life when you're making scenes like this. Think about how rocks would actually fall. Like if you were to drop some giant rocks and they were to fall on the ground, how would they look? Make it look realistic. If you're making certain scenes, like this farm, for example, think about what would make practical sense. So if there was a farm here, would the farmers want to sort of walk all the way down here and then go through the middle of the town and then have their little farmer's market stall like right in the middle of the town here? Or would they just have it right next to their crops on the edge of town? So it made a lot more sense to have it here. So constantly think about that too. I think that's really important sort of aspect that some people tend to miss out on with level design and set dressing is they either think about aesthetics purely or they think about function, and they don't actually think about the story behind it, because the story isn't just, telling a story and adding emotion. It's also making it believable. I was making the corner of these fences here, and then might look a little bit weird if I had sort of one fence going on like a really harsh angle. So I left a gap between the fences. And then I thought, well, why would there be a gap? If I was building this crop, why would I just build a fence of a gap here? There needs to be some sort of reason that there would be a gap. So I just added a tree stump, like a big tree used to be there. They chopped down the tree and then they just built the fence around the tree. It's seemingly like a really small, insignificant piece of the level design, but it matters. Like it actually, the people playing the games that you make think about this sort of stuff, and it's important. So constantly think about stuff like that. There's a flow tips 101 for you. So I had some people actually talk about chimneys. So I've added chimneys to the game. There's a little chimney here, a little chimney here. They're not in all the houses. I guess the people that are a bit more wealthy in the town that can afford a fireplace, they have chimneys. If I quickly actually show you, if I change the day and night cycle a little bit, you'll actually see the chimneys turn on along with all the lights in the town. So the chimneys actually have smoke and little embers come out of them when it's nighttime, which looks pretty cool. So I'll turn it back into day. Boom. There we go. Yeah, chimneys are added into the game, as well as just general set dressing. I had a few people ask, just saying that the town looks a bit too like perfect and a bit too clean. So I've just added a few more little like rocks like that, and the table here, and just little barrels and rope, and just trying to add a bit more stuff just everywhere. I didn't want to add too much, just simply because I haven't made enough set dressing assets yet. I'm just making assets as I go. So I don't want like 50 of the same barrel all around the town. I'll include more and more detail around the town as I make more assets. So I think where it is right now is a good sort of middle ground where things don't look too duplicated, but it still sort of fills up the area a little bit. I've also added sort of little dirt patches and things just to make the floor texture seem a bit more sort of uneven and a bit more interesting, and not just the one texture. You also might notice the water is a bit different. So I've been going through a lot of different water shaders trying to figure out what looks best. This one definitely looks better. You'll see it way better on the beach down here in a second, but I'm still not fully set on this one. So the Fisherman Town has had a bit of work done. I had a lot of comments about the Fisherman Town. I've implemented some of them. One of them was specifically about a freshwater well, which is a great idea. It would make practical sense. It's another one of those things. If you're in a fisherman village, you would want like a freshwater well to get fresh water, but to also like wash the fish and do all sorts of stuff like that. So there's things like that that make practical sense in a town like this, and it just makes it more believable. So thanks for that comment. So going to the pirate island. So I've also built upon the pirate house here and I'm going to make it a bit more of a tavern. So if I get a bit closer, you'll hear this music played. So this is actually a song. This is music that Lars made for the game, for the actual pirate tavern for the pirate island. So this is going to be sort of like a fun, crazy tavern that the pirate guy here runs. It's like his house, but he also runs this tavern. And yeah, I thought I'd just make it a little bit more lively, a little bit more interesting. Might animate like beer bottles and random stuff getting thrown out of there every so often. But yeah, so I also just wanted an excuse to play that song all the time. So there's a new pirate tavern. You can see the new water here on the beach. Little idea, but a great idea is shells. I don't know why I didn't think of shells, but you can see there's little shells spotted across the beach. It took 2 seconds. I just opened up Maya and just quickly made some little shells. So thanks for that idea. That was a really good idea. It was just so simple, but it just made perfect sense because it's those little things that make set dressing and level design that much more believable and realistic. So another thing, you can hear the song again. Another thing I'll show you is I've added a windmill to the game. I had a couple people actually ask about adding a windmill. So I did exactly that. And I made this little wooden windmill here. So it's got the... Wait, pause the video. Okay, I'm in the middle of editing and I just realized that I actually animated it spinning the wrong way. So, but before your comment, I know I'll reverse it, continue the video. I don't know what you call this part, like the rudder that sort of directs the windmill to face whatever way the wind is turning, and then the actual blades themselves just spin, and then the rudder sort of like moves back and forwards, and it's just on like I just animated it in Maya, and then put it on a loop, and it just sits there and animates away. So I think it looks really cool, actually. That's a great idea. So thanks for that idea. And then I actually moved the water tower over here. So I had some questions about this little paddock here. This is going to be, it's going to have some chickens. So it's going to be sort of like livestock in this paddock. But yeah, look, talking about the title, so I had to make you listen to the whole video to get through it. Sorry, I was just so immersed in the game, I just couldn't stop talking about the level. And I totally forgot that I've quit my job. So yeah, talking about that, yeah, look, it's not clickbait. I really have. I've sort of quitting my job. It's not something where I just sort of don't show up to work one day. It's going to be a gradual process over the next sort of little while, where I basically cut down my hours until I sort of fully leave. But yeah, look, this has been a long time coming. I know a lot of people hear these stories, like, you know, PewDiePie and all these sorts of Hollywood stars, where they go, oh, I used to work at a hot dog stand, and then I got fed up and I said, that's it, I quit. And then they followed their dreams and it was all a happy ending. But you also don't hear the million other people that do that don't become movie stars. So just try and, whenever you make big leaps like the one I'm doing now, try and mitigate your risk as much as possible. I think that's something really important for indie developers, because a lot of people just think if you want something really bad, it's just going to fall on your lap. And you can work really, really hard, and you can want something really, really bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't always mean it's going to work out. So mitigate your risk and make sure that you've set your life up as well as you can to actually better your odds. So for example, like Lens Island, I started working on this 2.5 years ago. This hasn't been a quick little thing that I just decided I want to do. I've been doing this for a long time. I've worked on a bunch of other game projects until I decided that this was the one that I wanted to invest a bunch of time into. So it took a long time just to figure out that this is something that I wanted to invest my time into to begin with. And then on top of that, it's taken 2.5 years to get to the point where I've sort of told myself, okay, this is something serious. I think people really like this game. And realistically, the main reason that this is happening is because of all of you, because of all the amazing feedback that I'm getting. I've been spending the past few years making something that I would like playing. So hearing from all of you guys how much you would enjoy playing this game has really sort of solidified that idea for me and going, okay, I've spent my time making something that can be meaningful and could be a really good game. So I'm going to take it seriously now and take a bit of a risk and dedicate 100% of my time to make this work. But for you guys out there that may sort of work a part-time job, or you're just going through university or something like that, just realize your first idea probably won't be your big giant indie game success. As much as you want it to be, it's really easy to latch on to ideas, and it's sort of the last thing you want to hear when you're first starting out in game design, because you're full of ideas. Everyone's creative and has all these amazing ideas. But I had tons of ideas. I played survival games and games like Rust and Diablo and Sims and Minecraft and all that sort of stuff, and I had tons and tons of ideas that I thought were the best ideas in the world. And some of them I still think are really cool ideas. That doesn't mean I should make them into the games. They're just good ideas, and a bunch of people have good ideas. If I could give any advice to people in sort of a scenario similar to my one, make sure you show your friends and get as much feedback, and just get your game in front of as many eyes as possible and see what they think. That's why YouTube's great, because you can get a whole bunch of people all over the world give you very unfiltered, raw opinions based on what you're making. So that's a great way to get feedback, because I know it's easy to make games for yourself and make a game that you would like, but everyone's opinions differ. Sometimes people's opinions can be quite niche, and sometimes what you think will be a really good game probably is going to be a really good game, but unfortunately not many people might not like that style of game. It just might not be a very widely sort of accepted type of game. So just think about if you're onto like a winning brief to begin with, and then if you're confident in your idea, just be prepared that it's not going to be like a sudden spur of the moment decision. Like I just said, I spent 2 years getting to this point, and they're 2 very sort of like calculated years. I've been saving my money for a long time. I've got my YouTube channel. I've been working full time and sort of progressing myself career-wise. The whole time through making Lens Island, I've been flying all over the world and all over Australia, going to conferences and doing work and doing all sorts of stuff. And I have a very, very busy life. Like I would work 8 hours a day, or sometimes I'd work, non-stop for like a week or two. And then I would still work on Lens Island, throughout the night, and wake up really early and work on Lens Island. And even now I work on it probably 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then I still fit in time to do bits of my job as well, which I'm obviously cutting back on now. But the thing is, I live a really, really full life, and although I wouldn't have it any other way, I absolutely love it. Just be prepared that when you're working on an indie game, if you want to make one with a scope even close to this, you're going to be doing that for a long time. You're going to be working big days, 7 days a week for years, for years at a time. And if you love it, it's not work at all, and you love it, and it's fantastic. But just realize that's what it's going to take. It's not something that you just get done in a month. It's going to take a bit of time. But if you're ready to do that, and you have a good idea, and you're ready and prepared to spend the time, just make sure that you save up your money. Save up like 6 months' wage. Really just try and lower that risk as much as possible. Try and find some sort of position where you can work a couple of days a week just to pay your bills, where you have no savings, and then work all the rest of the time to build your game. And just really try and streamline your life, because if you're willing to take risks, like financial risks, if you're willing to sell your car or not live such a luxurious life, or, spend a little bit less food money, then that's the stuff you sort of have to do in order to sort of chase your dreams sometimes. So sometimes there will be a bit of sacrifice. I've certainly sacrificed a whole lot to make Lens Island even get to this point, and this game isn't even close to being done, and I've already sacrificed a lot. So just think about that for all of you guys out there that are working on projects. So I hope you guys enjoyed my rambling towards the end there. I just thought it'd be a little bit of food for thought, because I get a lot of people asking me about my situation and telling me about similar situations. It is something that's important, and it's applicable to almost everyone, not even just making games, but just running business in general. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, all of your feedback, all of your thoughts, leave them in the comments. I love everybody's feedback. Like you can see, I actually listen to it and I look at it and I implement it into the game. I hope you all have an amazing day. It's been Julian or Flow Graphics. See you in the next video.